It is a race like no other. A grueling, body-numbing test where completion is not a given, but pain and punishment certainly is. Crossing this finish line in this race is more about surviving.
I think the person that you are when you start is not the person you are when you finish. It's an amazing experience.
This race will see these athletes push their body to the extreme and then ask for just a little bit more.
It's always exciting to see what the body can actually do when you're pushing it as hard as you can.
So why do they do it? Why do they challenge themselves beyond what seems humanly possible? Why, you ask? To become an Ironman. For these athletes, the day starts early. The sun not yet up. The race is still about an hour away. Relax now. There'll be none of this later. The migration to the start can't come soon enough. The water of Tempe Town Lake awaits. For 30-year-old Lauren Kruger, her journey, her first Ironman, is about to begin.
I'm feeling pretty calm, just ready to get in the water.
This unlikeliest of rituals unite competitors from 39 different countries, dedicated to a singular goal. The start is now just minutes away. As the mad dash begins, adrenaline is an ally. Get out quick, stay clear of danger. From the shore, it is intoxicating to see. Arms fly, feet flap. For these athletes, it is just the beginning. Their goal still hours away. The 2.4-mile swim is by far the shortest distance, but make no mistake, there is no easing into this race. As the first racers exit the water, they are greeted by cheers, their exhausting journey barely begun. For others, their race already over.
Go, 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 yeah!
For most, the worst is yet to come. Somewhere in this madness, Lauren flies by. It's time to ride. The open road awaits. An energy-draining 112 miles through Tempe and up the Beeline. Conquer this part, and you're more than halfway to your goal.
It's one of the ultimate endurance tests in the world, and people like to test themselves to see if they can do it.
Like a game of chicken with your body. For Lauren Kruger, the next 5 hours will be spent pedaling.
I'm feeling relaxed. I'm telling myself to just relax and to race my race.
A race where determination can be seen, where desire overcomes fatigue and want to trumps can't do. There is a reason they call this the Ironman. Your mettle will be tested at every turn, at every stage.
Nobody in their sane mind does this.
Every pedal a burning reminder of how hard this race is, how fearless these athletes are. For Lauren, it's time to snack, time to refuel and reload. She still has 80 miles to go.
It is much more challenging than I ever thought it was going to be.
A challenge that is mental as much as physical. Keep your mind strong and you have a chance. Focus not on the pain, but the reward that lies ahead. For Lauren, her race is going better than planned. Off the bike and ahead of schedule. Her final test will be taken one step at a time.
I'm feeling like my legs are bricks. I can barely feel them move, let alone run.
Often the most demanding, it is a brutal finish that challenges your will. For Lauren, her goal is within reach, but fatigue is setting in.
It's such a mental game. By the time getting to the run, it's so mentally straining to just think about one foot after the other, never quitting.
For most, giving up is not an option. They'll do anything to finish. The pain will have to wait. As day becomes night, their goal within reach. The finish line just ahead. Cross this line and you see joy and exhilaration, exhaustion and fatigue. Some raise their arms in triumph, others can barely move a muscle. After 11 hours and 9 minutes, a journey that tested her spirit and will, Lauren Kruger's race is over. She is an Ironman.
It was amazing just to see the lights and the people and to hear your name being called. It's like no other feeling in the world.
And that's why they do it, for reasons most of us won't understand, for reasons only they know. In this race, the experience is everything. In Tempe, Kevin Kennedy, 12 News. In every sport, there are a few athletes that stand out, rising above the rest. One of them lives right here in Arizona.
I'm Kirby Chambliss, and what I do for a living is, do crazy things in airplanes.
He is a 5-time U.S. aerobatic champion, a 2-time Red Bull Air Race champion. The sky is canvas, a plane is brush. At 54, Kirby Chambliss has seen and done it all, often upside down at 200 miles per hour and just 10 feet off the ground. Imagination is his only limitation.
I love going 200 miles an hour, with your hair on fire just a few feet above the ground and then watching things go by.
Kirby has logged more than 27,000 hours in the cockpit, spending the equivalent of 3 years in the sky, spinning, flipping, and twirling. His view of the world a little different than most.
I'm so comfortable in that airplane. It just feels like the wings are my arms,
GoPro cameras mounted on the plane capture his passion. When up here, he is on top of the world.
From when I was a youngster, I've always known what I wanted to do and just had to go out and do it.
Inside his Edge 540 plane, Mother Earth races by. It's like flying in 3 dimensions, the ground somersaulting around him.
I love the gyroscopic maneuvers where the tail is literally going in over to the nose, and multiple times.
What looks out of control is deliberate and planned, every stunt calculated, even ones that seem crazy.
Just as the tail comes up, I'm going to aggressively move the stick backwards, and that's going to drive the tail down and basically bring the nose up to vertical.
Called the Cobra, like a rocket, the plane shoots into space. A few seconds later, be it backwards, forwards, sideways, or upside down. If it's up in the air, going fast, Kirby's on board.
There's nothing like, going 200 miles an hour, a few feet off the ground, upside down. It's things whizzing by.
If the sky belongs to Kirby, the ground belongs to Jason, Kirby's crew chief for 11 years.
I look over the plane a lot, and sometimes he says too much, but I don't think there's ever a too much.
With his team watching and a GoPro mounted, Kirby gives me an up-close view of his world. Showing off at 220 miles per hour. His encore, upside down, under this ribbon. Look again. Barely off the ground, Kirby breaks the ribbon as he launches the plane back into the air. One more loop around his backyard, then it's back home. Just another day in the clouds for the man they call Kirby. Near Tucson, Kevin Kennedy, 12 News. For these athletes, it's more than a game. It's a passion, a salvation, a chance most never imagined. This is sled hockey, and it's not for the meek.
I think we're all playing it because we do have some aggression, and we want to. My father always told me that contact sports, it's anger management for men.
Every one of these athletes is in some way handicapped. Just don't tell them that.
This is every bit as intense as an NFL football game or an NHL hockey game.
It's easy to get up for these games, the energy level is high and everybody's pumped up and everybody wants to go out and lay the biggest hit that they can.
Okay, here we go.
In 2 weeks, this tough group of guys will head to Sochi and represent the U.S. in the Paralympics.
At the Paralympic level, it's the intensity of all the games is real high.
One of those 17 players is Phoenix native Joshua Sweeney.
Being able to play hockey again like I used to as a kid and be able to travel for the United States of America and represent my country is just awesome.
Every player on this team has a story filled with determination, dedication, and desire. Marine Sergeant Joshua Sweeney's story started October 28, 2009.
He was out with his team, his unit, and they were looking for the people making the IEDs. and Josh was the one that stepped on an IED.
I never once thought to myself, you know, why did this happen to me, or I wish it wouldn't have. I've really just looked at it as an opportunity to become a better person.
Josh would have both legs amputated above the knee. 12 surgeries, and 2 years later, he strapped into a hockey sled for the first time.
Laying in the hospital bed thinking to myself, I'm not going to be able to play hockey anymore when I was first injured, and now going to the Paralympics playing hockey, I never thought that would happen.
Josh is one of the team captains, a gold medalist at the 2012 World Championships. This is his first Paralympics.
Being on this team is a huge honor to be able to represent my country just in a different way and go over and, you know, show that I still have a lot of love for the United States of America.
This amazing, often challenging journey has always included one person. His mom, Tracy, is his biggest cheerleader, and she will be there in Sochi.
Oh, definitely. Hit him harder, Josh. Go, get him. As a matter of fact, Josh says he can hear my voice on the ice when he's on the ice.
The former Marine sniper always wanted to serve his country. He is doing it again.
I just look at that USA and I think of all the people that have been behind me.
Wearing the red, white, and blue as an Olympian.
1, 2, 3. USA!
In Phoenix, Kevin Kennedy, 12 News. We all have a story.
Fire, helicopters over, heavy winds, you know, propane tanks blowing up houses, cops racing in and out trying to make sure everyone's evacuated.
Some chapters we choose, some choose us.
At first, I told people I'm great, doing fine, nothing's wrong. Well, that's a lie.
I was just saying I knew this was coming.
Brendan McDonough's story doesn't begin on June 30th of last year, but on that day, on this mountain, it changed forever.
I'm trying to reshape myself again because I don't have 19 people standing behind me.
For months, he would simply ask, why? Why me? Why am I here? Why are my 19 brothers gone?
I can't let it eat me up and, you know, bring me down and make me angry or make me mad just because I don't have answers to things.
There is so much he wants but will never know. So much he wishes but can't seem to forget.
I have these vivid images in my mind that happen.
One of 20 Granite Mountain hotshots to go up the mountain that day, he saw the calm and the chaos.
It was a very violent turn, you know. It picked up good.
Barely escaping himself, he would wait with other firefighters, listening on a fire radio.
This ain't good, though. He's screaming.
Praying, and yet somehow knowing those would be the last words his crew would say.
I just felt empty. I didn't know what to feel. I was in shock.
Determined to write a different ending to his story, Brendan battled. Therapy helped. A year later, there are reasons to smile.
I've been so blessed and so fortunate. I'm happy. I have so much support. So much support. It's just ridiculous.
Much like the town he protected, Brendan is rebuilding himself, now a stronger and more humble version of what he was.
I'm able to cry and understand and have tears of joy, and definitely a very stronger person than I was a year ago.
That strength forged through his fire friendships, now found in a little face.
I got my daughter, and she's got me. You know?
In a year he lost so much, he found what was missing, perspective on his life, his future, and his fallen friends.
We don't like to call ourselves heroes, but we have to be. We have to be heroes.
For Brendan McDonough, his story is not nearly finished. There are so many more chapters to complete. In Prescott, Kevin Kennedy, 12 News. Someone once said of two sisters, one is always the watcher and one the dancer.
She was red-haired, freckled, full of spunk.
A free spirit for sure, Allison was the dancer.
She was outgoing. She liked to go out and dance and party. And
Big Sister Beverly cherishes these old photographs and the memories that travel with them. A slice in time we often forget. For Beverly Moore, though, it's all she has left.
he ripped our family apart. My sister never got a chance to even live.
He is Patrick Clark Ryan. Now 54, He was just 20 when he killed Allison and dumped her body in the desert.
I would not have thought that he was a scary guy.
She wasn't alone. For 34 years, no one knew for certain that Ryan was the killer. It all started December 23rd, 1980, on the night Beverly and Allison's mother was married.
But yeah, it was just a nice little wedding. And
Invited to the wedding, Ryan got a ride home from Allison. No one would ever see her again.
his story was that Allie took him home. She asked him to go to another party, that he was already drunk, he didn't want to go, that he gave her a couple bucks for gas and dropped him off.
That story was a lie, but it worked for more than 3 decades. Only Ryan knows the details. Police now believe Ryan strangled Allison, drove to I-17 and Carefree Highway to dump the body, then drove back to town, ditched the car at Phoenix Baptist Hospital, which just happened to be 6 blocks from his home.
We never accused him, never went up to him and accused him of anything, but he was, certainly asked, but he had one story.
As family and police searched for Allison, Ryan knew the truth.
You don't want to believe that something terrible, that your sister could be dead, so you just hope that she did leave.
4 months would pass, still no sign. Hidden in plain sight all that time, Allison's car, still parked at the hospital. It was eventually towed without anyone knowing it was connected to a murder.
When the car was first towed, it should have been searched.
A mistake or misstep that would prove pivotal. A year later, Allison's family spotted the car. Could it be Allie?
You're always looking for it anyways, every time you're on the road or looking for her, and sure enough, it's her car.
Bought at an auction, a couple purchased the car and inside found what may have been evidence to a murder.
What looked like dry transmission fluid or brake fluid in the trunk and something sticky on the steering wheel.
Several items belonging to Allison were found inside the car, including her driver's license.
Now you're thinking that he's done something.
Another year passed, and then another, and another. By 1986, Allison Mims was considered a cold case. What police didn't or couldn't do, Ryan's conscience did. Haunted by the past, he sought out a priest.
Patrick Ryan, while being drunk or high on drugs, admitted to strangling a girl around Christmas Eve.
For 6 months, that confession stayed locked behind church walls until the family's private investigator discovered the secret Ryan had kept hidden for 7 years.
He said Patrick was so nervous that he thought he was going to get physically ill during the interview.
Police were notified, but without a body, Ryan wasn't arrested. Which brings us to the summer of 1987. A rancher discovered a partial skull in the desert around I-17 and Carefree Highway.
We were able to speculate that it was probably a female based on the size. Probably early 20s, 20 to 30, something like that.
But authorities never made a connection. For almost 3 decades, this sister knew what detectives couldn't prove.
He's a killer. He's a killer.
It was now 2010. What Beverly didn't know was this case was about to be solved. Now available, DNA testing confirmed the skull found along I-17 was Allison.
It was awful. It was like that was the first time that you know that your sister is really dead. It's like she just died.
For 30 years, Patrick Ryan got away with murder. It all ended in November of 2010. MCSO detectives made an arrest.
Finally they have him.
Earlier this year, Beverly got her wish.
We always wanted to have
Patrick Ryan was sentenced to 18 years in prison.
I knew he would get arrested. Yeah. I knew he would get arrested, yeah.
Justice doesn't always move swiftly. For 34 years, Beverly, the sister, was again the watcher.
My mother's anniversary. She could never celebrate her anniversary. Christmas. For all these years.
Whoever said time heals all wounds probably didn't have a sister. In Phoenix, Kevin Kennedy, 12 News.